Let's welcome Ian into the studio now. Now, Ian, this week, instead of our usual chit-chat, you've got something a little different for us.
Yeah, so we've seen the recap, the 2011-2012 season. It's been one of the most exciting and thrilling seasons ever in the history of the CBA. But let's start with our top 5 moments of the season this year. And first off, at number 5 is the trigger-happy shooting of Lester Hudson of the Qingdao Eagles. Hudson took the CBA by storm from behind the three-point line this season, taking a total of 481 three-pointers in 32 games, averaging out to an absurd 15 three-point attempts per game. But on 2 particular nights, Hudson shattered that average. In a mid-January game versus the Shaanxi Dragons, Hudson shot the ball 24 times from behind the arc, hitting 10 of them and finishing with 45 points. But that would end up being the second most he'd shoot in a game this season, as he threw up 27 three-pointers in a December 9th loss to Shaanxi, where he connected on 13 of them and finished with 58 points.
Well, definitely a lesser-known foreign player here in the CBA, but he's clearly found a home.
Absolutely. A lot has been said about guys like Marbury and Aaron Brooks, more prestigious NBA players, but there's so much to be said about guys like Lester Hudson, guys who had careers in the NBA and have now come here and sort of made a name for themselves here.
All right, number 4?
So at number 4 is a story that's close to the hearts of many Chinese fans and longtime CBA followers. On January 1st, Guangdong Southern Tigers forward Zhu Fangyu became the CBA's all-time leading scorer, while eventually finishing the season with a total of 8,711 points to top the all-time scoring list. The 28-year-old Chinese-born forward was controversially part of the infamous brawl between the Chinese and Brazilian national teams back in October 2010. And Zhu was recognized as one of several Chinese players fighting with the Brazilian team, which further put a black mark on Chinese basketball. But Zhu has since attempted to clean up China's basketball image, is considered one of the greatest Chinese players ever, and a true ambassador for the changing face of basketball in China.
Well, basketball fans definitely know Yao Ming and probably Yi Jianlian, but here's definitely a lesser-known Chinese player.
Absolutely, and from where we were in 2010 to where we are now in terms of the international face of basketball in China, it has come a long way, and guys like Zhu Fangyu are really making sure that the black mark gets erased.
All right, moving on to number 3.
Well, one of the most intriguing questions prior to the 2011-2012 CBA season was how dominant would former NBA star J.R. Smith be? And it wasn't a matter of if, but when would he take his game to a never-before-seen level? Well, the question was quickly answered on 2 different nights. On February 1st versus the Qingdao Eagles, Smith put up a career-high 60 points while going an incredible 14 of 18 from behind the three-point line. In a January 8th game against the Shaanxi Dragons, Smith attempted a league-high 59 total shots. The Zhejiang star attempted 38 field goals and got to the free throw line 21 times to finish with 58 points. While Smith took the CBA by storm this season on the court, many of his off-the-court antics marred his time in China, and after Zhejiang failed to make the playoffs, he returned to the NBA to sign with the New York Knicks.
Well, there's no doubt JR put his stamp all over the CBA season.
Absolutely. He was definitely one of the most riveting players in the CBA this year. If there was a good guy and a bad guy, good guy would be Stephon Marbury, bad guy would be J.R. Smith.
He's probably never coming back. Now, number 2.
Coming in at number 2 is a storyline that wouldn't seem to go away as the season went on, no matter how much of a black mark it gave Chinese basketball. Fan and player violence reared its ugly head on several occasions during the 2011-2012 season. It all began with the highly publicized game between NCAA's Georgetown University and the Chinese Baiyi Rockets. What was supposed to be a friendly exhibition between the 2 teams turned ugly with less than 10 minutes to go. The next big incident wasn't far off, and it once again involved the Baiyi Rockets. In a January game between J.R. Smith's Zhejiang Lions and Baiyi, the action on the court was halted as Smith's sister got into an altercation with another fan, who was apparently heckling her brother. Smith walked off the court and attempted to enter the stands, but was held back by his teammates. Smith's sister was seen choking the other woman and had to be removed from the stadium altogether, and local fans blocked the team bus after the game, refusing to move until receiving an apology.
Well, it wouldn't be a top 5 list without all these fan altercations going on.
They seem to have happened every single week. It's such a shame.
Well, now we're moving on to number 1.
Finally, number 1. The number 1 moment of the 2011-2012 CBA season is one that no one could have ever predicted prior to the start of the season. The Beijing Ducks had never won a CBA championship. They'd never even come close. And while many CBA teams were signing high-profile NBA stars, Beijing settled with what seemed like a washed-up former NBA player whose time in China was quickly coming to an end. Stephon Marbury looked to Beijing for one last shot at a title, something that had eluded him during his 13-year NBA career. As the playoffs approached, it was Beijing and Guangdong who were the favorites to meet in the final. Marbury led Beijing to a 4-1 series win to take the CBA championship, finishing with 41 points in the final game in Beijing and forever supplanting himself as a legend in Beijing sports and the new ambassador of Chinese basketball.
And it looks like Marbury might really never leave.
There's new reports that have come out. He says that he wants to stay. He wants to perhaps build a dynasty. Unbelievable story considering where we were beginning of the year. Who was Stephon Marbury? People thought he was washed up. Not the case now.
Well, clearly the #1 moment. Ian, thanks a lot. And that wraps up the 2011-2012 CBA season. Next up, it's Podium Finish.